Welcome back to our channel, World of Coins. As you knew that old is gold, but these rare Abraham Lincoln penny coins that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them because it could make you a millionaire overnight. You're lucky if you have one of these, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1. Today, we're talking about a truly special coin that might just be hiding in your collection, or even in your spare change jar, the 1973 United States 1-cent coin. It might surprise you to learn that this little penny could be worth a fortune. Stay tuned as we uncover why this particular coin has such a huge value and what makes it so rare and desirable among collectors. Now, let's start with a bit of history. The 1973 penny is part of the larger series of United States coins that were minted in the early 1970s, a time when the U.S. was experiencing significant changes in its economy, culture, and political landscape. In 1973, the United States was coming out of the turmoil of the 1960s and early 70s, and the mint was working to meet the growing demand for coins due to inflation. The mint mark S on this penny indicates it was struck in San Francisco, which, as we'll soon see, is an important detail when it comes to determining its value. But why is the 1973 penny so valuable? Well, it all comes down to rarity, condition, and a little-known detail that sets this coin apart from millions of others. You see, while the 1973 penny was minted in large numbers, only a small percentage of them were struck with a specific set of characteristics that make them stand out. These pennies were meant to be a standard part of U.S. currency, but due to a rare combination of minting errors, only a handful of them were released in pristine condition, making them highly sought after by collectors. Let's dive into the details of what makes the 1973 penny unique. On the obverse side of the coin, we see the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. This image has been a staple of American coins for over a century, symbolizing the strength and leadership of one of the country's greatest presidents. However, it's not just the design that matters, it's the condition of the coin. Many of the 1973 pennies that made it into circulation were subject to wear and tear, which diminishes their value. But those that have been preserved in mint condition? Well, that's where the magic happens. The real value of this coin comes from a combination of factors. First, there's the fact that it was minted at the San Francisco Mint. Coins from the San Francisco Mint tend to be more desirable because of the high-quality standards applied there. Second, there's the rarity of this coin in mint condition. Out of the millions of pennies produced in 1973, only a tiny fraction were struck with perfect detail and no significant signs of wear. These are the coins that collectors dream of, and they are often the ones that fetch the highest prices at auctions. Now, let's talk about what collectors are really after: mint marks and variations. While most 1973 pennies carry the standard mint mark for their location, the 1973 penny stands out due to the fact that it was released with a particular flaw in its design. Over time, coins with certain imperfections, errors, or unusual variations tend to become much more valuable. These error coins are often one of a kind, and collectors will pay a premium for them. If you happen to have a 1973 penny that shows some unusual characteristics, whether it's a double die, a misplaced mint mark, or some other flaw, it could be worth much more than just a few cents. In fact, some of these error pennies have sold for astronomical amounts, making them a hot commodity in the numismatic world. As we get to the most exciting part, let's talk about the value of this rare coin. The 1973 1-cent coin, when found in excellent, uncirculated condition, can fetch an impressive price on the market. And for those of you who might have a collector-grade version of this coin with an error or in pristine condition, you might be sitting on a real treasure. The value of this rare 1973 penny can reach as high as $79,000. Yes, you heard that right, $79,000. That's an unbelievable amount for such a small coin, but it just goes to show how much collectors value rare and unique coins. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone who enjoys the thrill of finding hidden gems, this coin is definitely worth keeping an eye out for. So, what does this mean for you? Well, if you've come across a 1973 penny, take a moment to check its condition. If it's in near-perfect shape, it could be worth much more than you realize. And if you happen to spot a rare error on it, such as a double die or other minting mistake, then you could be holding onto a coin worth tens of thousands of dollars. In conclusion, the 1973 United States 1-cent coin is not just a piece of currency, but a potential goldmine for those lucky enough to find it. So, the next time you come across a penny, take a close look at it. You might just be holding onto a rare treasure that could make you a small fortune. Top 2, we're diving into a coin that might just be sitting in your collection, hiding in plain sight. This is no ordinary penny, it's the 1979 United States 1-cent coin, and it's much more valuable than you might think. Most people wouldn't give a second glance to a penny, but the 1979 version holds a surprising secret. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why this small, seemingly insignificant coin could be worth a fortune. Let's take a trip back to 1979, a year when the US was in the middle of a shifting cultural and economic landscape. The 1970s saw the end of the Vietnam War, the beginning of the energy crisis, and, perhaps most importantly, the US was still dealing with inflationary pressures. Coins like the 1 cent were circulating across the country, seemingly as common as dirt. But little did anyone know, some of these pennies would become extremely valuable decades later. At first glance, the 1979 penny might look like just another piece of everyday change. The obverse side features the iconic image of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. This image has been gracing U.S. pennies for over a century, symbolizing the strength and wisdom of one of the greatest presidents in American history. On the reverse side, you'll see the classic depiction of the Lincoln Memorial, a symbol of the country's history and ideals. These designs are what most people expect and they flip through their change. But, here's the twist, there are certain key factors that can make a 1979 penny extremely rare and valuable. One of the primary reasons the 1979 1-cent coin is so sought after is the existence of specific minting errors that have turned some of these pennies into highly coveted treasures. The U.S. Mint has a large-scale operation, but it's not uncommon for coins to leave the mint with some sort of mistake, whether that's a misprint, a double strike, or some other error that creates a unique and one-of-a-kind piece. The 1979 penny is no exception. While the minting process for the penny generally followed the same rules, a small percentage of these coins were struck with variations that make them incredibly valuable today. Now, let's focus on what collectors are looking for when it comes to the 1979 penny. One of the most notable errors on these coins involves a double die, where the coin is struck twice, leading to a slightly offset design. This double strike is especially noticeable on the date and sometimes on other parts of the coin as well. When you look at a 1979 penny with a double die, you'll notice the numbers in the date appear to be doubled, or have a shadow effect. This error makes the coin highly desirable to collectors, and it can significantly increase its value. Another important factor that plays into the worth of this coin is its condition. Like with most rare coins, the value skyrockets when the penny is in mint condition, free from scratches, dings, or discoloration. A well-preserved 1979 penny can be worth far more than one that's been in circulation for years. That's why, if you find a 1979 penny that looks like it was just struck yesterday, it's definitely worth taking a closer look. Coins that are in uncirculated or near mint condition, especially those that have errors, are always highly sought after at auctions and among collectors, and here's where it gets even more exciting. While most of the 1979 pennies were produced in large quantities and are worth just a few cents, some of the rarer, error-filled versions can fetch an impressive price on the market. The key to understanding the value lies in rarity and condition. When you combine a minting error like a double die with a coin that has been well preserved, the price can soar. So, just how much could a 1979 penny be worth? If you've got a penny with a double die error in near-perfect or uncirculated condition, you could be looking at a value of $71,000. Yes, you heard that right, $71,000 for a single penny. That's the kind of money that could change your life, all thanks to a little coin that many people would simply toss aside without a second thought. Now, before you rush to check your spare change jar, remember that not every 1979 penny is worth this kind of money. It has to have that special error or be in pristine condition to reach these high numbers. But the next time you see a 1979 penny, take a moment to inspect it carefully. You never know if you've stumbled upon one of these hidden treasures. In conclusion, the 1979 United States 1-cent coin is a perfect example of how something as small as a penny can hold incredible value, especially when it's rare and unique. Whether it's a minting error like the double die or simply an uncirculated coin, there's a lot of potential for these coins to fetch high prices at auctions or in the collector market. So, the next time you find yourself handling a 1979 penny, remember, it could be worth far more than just 1 cent. If it's the right kind of coin, it might just be worth $71,000. Top 3, we're diving into a coin that might be hiding in your collection or even in your spare change jar, the 1982 United States 1-cent coin. While most people probably don't think twice about these small copper coins, the 1982 penny has a secret that could make it worth a small fortune. You won't want to miss what we have to reveal about this unassuming little coin. The 1982 penny holds a special place in U.S. numismatic history. If we rewind the clock to 1982, we find a year of significant change. For starters, the United States was going through a major shift in its coinage system. Up until 1982, U.S. pennies were primarily made of 95% copper, but that all changed due to rising copper prices. The mint introduced a new formula for the penny, which now contains 97.5% zinc and only 2.5% copper. This change is what makes the 1982 penny so intriguing. The year marked the transition from the copper to the zinc-based penny, and this one shift in production has led to some surprising, and incredibly valuable, coins in circulation. You might wonder, why does this matter? Well, the difference in composition means that there are actually two different versions of the 1982 penny, those made from the original copper composition and those minted with the new zinc alloy. And here's where things get interesting. Coins that were struck using the older copper formula are now considered rare, and they can be worth a lot of money, far more than just a cent. Let's talk about the specific details. The 1982 copper penny was minted only in limited quantities before the change was made, which means that even though there were millions of pennies struck that year, only a small fraction of them were produced using the original copper formula. The 1982 zinc pennies, on the other hand, became the standard after the composition change. These copper pennies, because of their composition and scarcity, are in high demand among collectors, but there's another twist. There are some 1982 pennies that are especially rare due to certain minting errors. One of the most desirable errors is the famous small date version of the 1982 penny. While the majority of 1982 pennies feature a larger date, a small number of them were struck with a smaller sized date, making them much rarer and more valuable. The small date variety is highly sought after by collectors who specialize in mint errors, and it can make a huge difference in the value of the coin. So, if you come across a 1982 penny with a small date, it could be worth a lot more than the average coin from that year. The key factor here is rarity. As you might expect, only a handful of these copper pennies were produced before the mint switched to the new zinc alloy, and even fewer were struck with the small date. This makes the 1982 copper penny a real gem for collectors, especially if you find one in pristine condition. Most 1982 pennies you'll encounter are likely to be the zinc version, but if you happen to stumble upon one of these rarer copper or small date varieties, you could be holding on to something truly special. Now, you're probably wondering how much a 1982 penny could really be worth. Well, the answer depends on the coin's condition and whether it has any rare features like a small date or a minting error. If you happen to have a copper 1982 penny in uncirculated condition, or even one that's been preserved with minimal wear, you could see its value increase dramatically. And for those of you who happen to have a 1982 small date penny, you're in for a treat. The value of a rare 1982 copper penny can reach a stunning $61,000, yes, you heard that right, $61,000 for a single penny. That's an incredible amount for something most people wouldn't even think twice about tossing into a coin jar. The rarity of these pennies, combined with their historical significance and potential minting errors, makes them highly valuable on the market. If you've got a 1982 penny in your collection, it's worth taking a closer look to see if it's one of the rarer versions. Who knows, you might just be sitting on a hidden treasure. In conclusion, the 1982 United States 1-cent coin is far more than just a regular penny, it's a piece of U.S. history that could be worth thousands of dollars. Whether it's the copper composition, the small date variation, or a minting error, there's plenty of potential for collectors to find a valuable 1982 penny hiding in their collection or even in their loose change. So, take a moment to check your pennies, especially those from 1982. If you've got the right one, it could be worth $61,000. Top 4, we've got an exciting episode lined up, and you're going to want to stick around for this one because we're diving into a coin that might be sitting in your collection or hiding in your loose change, a 1974 United States 1-cent coin. While most people might not give this penny a second thought, this particular coin has a fascinating history, a unique composition, and could be worth a staggering amount of money. Intrigued? Keep watching to discover why the 1974 penny might just be one of the most valuable finds you can make. To understand the value of the 1974 penny, we need to take a look back at the year it was minted. The 1970s were a time of significant change in the United States, both politically and economically. The country was recovering from the tumultuous 1960s and early 1970s, and inflation was becoming a rising concern. The U.S. Mint, during this time, was working to keep up with the demand for coins. In 1974, the United States issued billions of pennies, all made from a copper-based alloy, which was the standard at the time. However, a shift in the composition of pennies was on the horizon. Just a few years later, the mint would transition to a zinc-based formula due to the rising cost of copper. While many 1974 pennies circulated widely, there's one important reason this coin has caught the attention of collectors. It was the last year the U.S. Mint produced pennies using a high percentage of copper. As we all know, copper prices have skyrocketed over the years, and older copper pennies have become increasingly valuable for their metal content. So, just the fact that the 1974 penny is made from a higher percentage of copper gives it a certain level of appeal among collectors and investors alike. However, it's not just the composition that makes the 1974 penny special. Some of these pennies were minted with rare and valuable errors that could make them worth a small fortune. For example, there are reports of 1974 pennies with various types of minting errors, such as double strikes and off-center designs. These errors are incredibly rare and are highly prized by collectors, as they make the coin unique and much more valuable than a typical penny. A penny with a double strike, for instance, may show a slightly blurred or overlapping design, making it a one-of-a-kind piece in the eyes of collectors, but even if your 1974 penny doesn't feature an error, there's still a chance it could be worth a significant amount of money. As with most rare coins, condition plays a crucial role in determining value. If you've got a 1974 penny in uncirculated condition, meaning it looks like it was just struck yesterday, it could be worth far more than the face value of 1-cent coins that have been well preserved, without significant scratches or damage, tend to be highly sought after in the numismatic world. A 1974 penny in mint condition could be worth hundreds, if not thousands, of dollars, depending on its rarity and features. Now, let's get to the most exciting part, the value of this coin. While many 1974 pennies might seem like they're worth just a few cents, those with rare minting errors or in excellent condition can command a much higher price. If you have a 1974 penny with one of these errors, or if you happen to find one that's in pristine, uncirculated condition, you could be looking at a value that might surprise you. The right 1974 penny can be worth as much as $75,000, yes, that's $75,000 for a single penny. It's incredible to think that a small coin, something many people overlook, could have such an enormous value. But that's what makes coin collecting so exciting. Sometimes, the most unexpected pieces hold the most potential. So, next time you're flipping through your change or browsing through your coin collection, take a moment to check for those 1974 pennies. If it's in great condition or has a rare minting error, you could be holding onto a real treasure. In conclusion, the 1974 United States 1-cent coin may seem like just another penny, but it has the potential to be worth far more than you might expect. With its copper composition, rare minting errors, and the right condition, this coin could be worth a staggering $75,000. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just getting started, keep an eye out for those 1974 pennies. They just might be worth far more than their face value. Top 5, we have something really exciting to talk about that could be hiding in your collection or even in your pocket change, a 1971 United States 1-cent coin. Now, we all know pennies aren't usually worth much, but today, we're going to uncover how this seemingly ordinary coin from over 50 years ago could be worth far more than you might think. So, stick around because you'll be shocked by what this little penny could fetch. To understand the value of the 1971 penny, we need to rewind to the early 1970s, a pivotal time in U.S. history. The country was in the midst of political and social change, while the economy was also experiencing shifts. As the world moved into the modern era, the U.S. Mint was working overtime to keep up with demand for coins. The 1971 penny was minted during this time, and like many other pennies, it was made primarily of copper. It had the usual design, a portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. While it might seem like just another penny, it's the backstory and some rare characteristics of the 1971 coin that make it so valuable. One key reason this penny stands out is because of the specific minting errors that occurred with this coin. As with any mass-produced item, sometimes mistakes happen during the production process, and these errors are what make certain coins incredibly valuable. While most of the 1971 pennies were made without issue, a small number were struck with variations that make them much rarer. And, as we know, rare coins are highly sought after by collectors. One of the most common errors found in the 1971 penny is the double die error. This is when the die used to strike the coin is misaligned, causing the design to be imprinted twice in slightly different positions. This leads to a coin where parts of the image, especially the date, appear doubled. Collectors love double die coins because they are unique and have an interesting visual appeal. A 1971 penny with a noticeable double die error could make it a standout in any collection, and its value would skyrocket compared to a regular penny. Additionally, there are other subtle variations of the 1971 penny that can increase its worth. For instance, some 1971 pennies have been found with a slightly different weight or texture compared to the rest of the coins minted that year. These small variations might not seem significant to the casual observer, but they are precisely what makes these coins so valuable to serious collectors. In fact, the more specific the error or variation, the higher the coin's market value. Now, let's talk about something even more important: coin condition. This is where things get really exciting for 1971 penny owners. If you happen to have one of these rare pennies in excellent or near mint condition, you're sitting on a potential goldmine. A coin's condition plays a massive role in determining its value. A 1971 penny that has been well preserved, free from scratches, dings, or discoloration, is worth significantly more than a coin that's been in circulation for decades. And that brings us to the million-dollar question: how much could a 1971 penny be worth? While most 1971 pennies in circulation are worth just a single cent, certain error coins and those in excellent condition can be worth a whole lot more. In fact, a 1971 penny with the right kind of minting error or in uncirculated condition can sell for as much as $80,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $80,000. It's hard to believe that something as small as a penny could be worth such a significant sum, but that's the beauty of coin collecting. The right combination of rarity, error, and condition can transform an ordinary coin into a valuable treasure. So, the next time you come across a 1971 penny, make sure to take a good look at it. You never know, it could be one of the rare error coins or in pristine condition, waiting for you to discover its true value. In conclusion, the 1971 United States 1-cent coin may seem like just another piece of change, but it has the potential to be worth so much more than that. Whether it's an error coin with a double die, a unique variation, or one in perfect condition, this penny could be worth up to $80,000. So, don't overlook those pennies, you could be holding on to something much more valuable than you think. Top 6, we're talking about a very special coin that could be worth way more than you ever imagined, a 1973 United States 1-cent coin. You might think all pennies are the same, but this one from 1973 is more than just pocket change. It's a hidden gem, and with its unique characteristics, it could be worth a small fortune. Stick with us as we take a closer look at why this particular penny could make you rich beyond your wildest dreams. Let's start with a little history lesson. 1973 was a year of major change in the United States. The country was navigating a difficult economic period marked by the oil crisis and rising inflation. The U.S. Mint, at this time, was still producing pennies primarily from copper, before the eventual shift to a more cost-effective zinc-based formula in later years. In 1973, the copper penny, with its familiar image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, was still a staple in daily transactions. But little did people know, a few of these coins would become rare treasures decades later. One of the reasons the 1973 penny stands out in the world of coin collecting is due to the rarity of certain minting errors that occurred during its production. While most of the 1973 pennies were struck with standard, flawless designs, a small number were struck with mistakes that have made them highly valuable to collectors. Minting errors are a collector's dream, and the 1973 penny is no exception. Let's talk about one of the most famous errors on these coins, the double die error. This is when the die used to strike the coin was misaligned, causing the design to be struck more than once, slightly overlapping. This error is particularly noticeable in the date, where you might see the numbers 1973 appear doubled. It's a very distinct error, and collectors go wild over these kinds of coins. A double die error coin from 1973 is incredibly rare, and owning one could add a substantial amount to its value. In addition to the double die error, there are other variations of the 1973 penny that could make it more valuable. For example, some coins from this year may have been struck on a blank planchet, or with certain design flaws that make them stand out. While these errors might seem minor to the untrained eye, to a seasoned collector, they are considered highly desirable. In fact, these types of errors can increase the value of the coin significantly. Now, let's talk about the most important factor when it comes to a coin's value, its condition. If you're lucky enough to have a 1973 penny in near mint or uncirculated condition, you could be sitting on a goldmine. Coins that are well preserved, without any wear, scratches, or discoloration, are far more valuable than those that have been in circulation for years. A 1973 penny that looks like it was just struck yesterday is far more appealing to collectors, and that could mean big bucks for you. So, how much can a 1973 penny be worth? While most 1973 pennies are worth just 1 cent, those with minting errors or in pristine condition can fetch a much higher price. And here's the exciting part: if you happen to have a 1973 penny with a rare error or in uncirculated condition, it could be worth as much as $76,000. That's right, $76,000 for a single penny. It's hard to believe that a simple penny could fetch such an incredible price, but that's the power of rarity and condition in the world of numismatics. So, before you toss those pennies into a jar or spend them without a second thought, take a moment to check for any potential minting errors or coins in great condition. You could be holding on to a rare treasure that could change your life. In conclusion, the 1973 United States 1-cent coin may seem like just another penny, but in the world of coin collecting, it's so much more. With rare minting errors like the double die or coins in uncirculated condition, the 1973 penny can be worth an impressive $76,000. Top 7, we're going to talk about a coin that might be sitting right in front of you, waiting to make you a fortune, the 1977 United States 1-cent coin. You might be surprised to learn that this particular penny could be worth way more than just 1 cent. So, buckle up, because we're about to uncover why this 1977 penny could be a hidden treasure in your collection or even in your pocket. Let's start with some background. The 1970s were an interesting time for the U.S. Mint. The country was dealing with inflation, rising costs, and political turmoil. The U.S. Mint was producing tons of pennies during this time, but little did they know that a select few would become highly sought after by collectors decades later. The 1977 penny was no exception. At first glance, it looks like just another coin in the lineup. After all, it features the classic design of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. But this penny holds a secret that most people don't know about. What makes the 1977 penny so interesting is the fact that, like many other coins from the 1970s, it has been affected by certain minting errors that make it much rarer than your average penny. While most of the 1977 pennies were struck with the usual design and quality, a small number were struck with errors that make them incredibly valuable today. And these aren't just minor errors. Some of these mistakes make the coin stand out in such a way that they're worth a small fortune. One of the most notable errors found on the 1977 penny is the double die error. This happens when the coin is struck more than once by the die, creating a doubling effect on certain elements of the design, particularly the date. On a 1977 penny with a double die error, the numbers 1977 might appear to be doubled or blurred. This distinctive error makes the coin unique and much more valuable than an ordinary penny. Collectors are always on the lookout for these kinds of mistakes, as they're a rare and desirable find, but that's not all. The 1977 penny has also been found with other types of minting errors, such as off-center strikes or even coins struck on wrong planchets. These kinds of errors are considered highly collectible and can significantly increase a coin's value. If you're lucky enough to find a 1977 penny with one of these rare characteristics, you could be holding on to something truly special. The rarer and more unusual the error, the higher the value of the coin. Now, let's talk about condition. The state of the coin plays a major role in determining its value. A penny that's been in circulation for decades will likely show signs of wear, with scratches, discoloration, and dings. But if you happen to have a 1977 penny in pristine or uncirculated condition, meaning it looks like it just came out of the mint, the value of that coin could increase exponentially. Coins in excellent condition are always in demand, especially for collectors who are looking for pieces to complete their collections. So, how much can a 1977 penny really be worth? Well, it depends on the coin's condition and whether it has any rare minting errors. But if you happen to own a 1977 penny with a rare double die error or in uncirculated condition, you could be sitting on a goldmine. In fact, a 1977 penny in great condition or with an error could be worth as much as $70,000. Yes, $70,000 for a single penny. It's hard to believe that something as small and seemingly insignificant as a penny could be worth so much. But that's the exciting thing about coin collecting. What seems like just another ordinary coin can actually be a valuable asset, especially if it has the right characteristics. So, the next time you find a 1977 penny in your change or dig through your collection, take a moment to inspect it closely. You might just have a rare and valuable coin on your hands. In conclusion, the 1977 United States 1-cent coin may look like just another penny, but when you dig deeper, you'll find that it holds the potential for a huge payday. Whether it's the double die error, an off-center strike, or simply being in exceptional condition, this penny could be worth as much as $70,000. So, before you toss your pennies aside, take a closer look. You could be holding on to a rare treasure that could make you a fortune. Top 8. We're about to take a deep dive into a coin that might be hiding in your collection or even mixed in with your change, a 1976 United States 1-cent coin. You might be wondering, what's so special about a penny from 1976? Well, this particular penny could be worth far more than you might think. In fact, it could be worth tens of thousands of dollars. So, stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll see just why the 1976 penny is a coin worth keeping an eye on. Let's start with a little historical context. The year 1976 was a big one for the United States. The country was celebrating its 200th birthday, its bicentennial, and the entire nation was in a celebratory mood. To mark this monumental occasion, the U.S. Mint issued special bicentennial coins. While the famous quarter and half-dollar designs took the spotlight, did you know that the penny was also part of the celebration? That's right. The 1976 penny features the usual design of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, but there's a hidden treasure in how it connects to the larger bicentennial celebration. The U.S. Mint's special bicentennial coinage program included a redesign for the reverse side of the quarter, half dollar, and dollar coins. However, the penny remained the same in its design, except for one subtle and interesting detail: the fact that the 1976 penny was produced in large numbers alongside the bicentennial coinage. Now, you might be thinking, so, what makes the 1976 penny so valuable? Well, the truth is that while most of these pennies are worth just 1 cent, there's a specific reason that some of these coins have become highly sought after and incredibly valuable in the numismatic world. What makes the 1976 penny so intriguing is not necessarily the bicentennial connection, but the potential for minting errors that happened in the production process. While the U.S. Mint struck billions of these pennies, a few rare mistakes were made. Minting errors, as we know, are what collectors dream of when hunting for coins. These errors happen when the coin dies misalign, coins are struck off-center, or even when there's a problem with the planchet or the way the coin is struck. These kinds of issues create rare and unique coins that stand out from the rest, and that's what makes them so valuable. One of the most sought-after errors from the 1976 penny is the double die error. This occurs when the coin's die is misaligned during the striking process, causing the image to appear doubled. When this happens, the date or other features, like Lincoln's profile, may appear blurry or overlaid. A 1976 penny with a noticeable double die error can be worth much more than a regular penny because it is a one-of-a-kind piece in the eyes of collectors. Another error that collectors look for is the off-center strike. If a penny is not positioned properly during the minting process, it can result in an off-center strike, where part of the design is missing or misaligned. This type of error is particularly unique, and collectors love the idea of owning a coin that's unlike any other. An off-center strike can make your 1976 penny stand out and significantly increase its value. Of course, the condition of the coin plays a major role in determining its worth. If you have a 1976 penny that's been well preserved, free from scratches, dents, and discoloration, you may have a coin that's worth far more than its face value. Coins in excellent, uncirculated condition are highly desirable, as collectors are always on the lookout for coins that have been preserved in near-perfect shape. So, how much could a 1976 penny be worth? Well, it all depends on the coin's rarity, errors, and condition. While most of the 1976 pennies you'll come across are worth only a few cents, those with rare minting errors or in mint condition can fetch much higher prices. If you happen to have one of these rare gems with a double die error or an off-center strike, it could be worth an incredible $72,000. Yes, $72,000. It's hard to believe that a small, seemingly insignificant coin could have such a high value, but that's the magic of coin collecting. What looks like an ordinary penny could actually be a valuable treasure waiting to be discovered. So, the next time you're going through your change, don't just toss those 1976 pennies aside. Take a moment to examine them closely for any errors, minting issues, or signs of uncirculated condition. You just might find yourself holding on to a small fortune. In conclusion, the 1976 United States 1-cent coin is much more than just a penny. Whether it's the rare minting errors like double die or off-center strikes, or simply the fact that it's in pristine condition, this penny could be worth as much as $72,000. Top 9, we're diving into a coin that you might not expect to be so valuable, but trust me, it could be worth far more than you think. We're talking about the 1975 United States 1-cent coin. Now, most people wouldn't give a second thought to a penny that's over 45 years old, but what if I told you that this small piece of copper could fetch you thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars? Stick around because you'll be amazed at the hidden value of the 1975 penny. Let's set the scene with a bit of history. The year 1975 was significant for the United States for a number of reasons. While the country was navigating the effects of the Vietnam War and facing political challenges, the U.S. Mint was continuing to produce coins at a steady pace. The 1975 penny, like most of the pennies from that era, featured the well-known image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. It was a typical year for U.S. currency, with billions of these pennies being minted and distributed across the nation. However, there's more to the 1975 penny than meets the EYE.SO, what makes the 1975 penny so valuable. As with many coins, it's not just about the year or the design, it's about the condition and any rare characteristics or minting errors that might make a particular coin stand out. You might be thinking, it's just a penny, right? Well, it's not just any penny, especially if you come across one with a rare error or in pristine condition. And that's exactly what makes the 1975 penny so sought after by collectors. One of the most exciting things about the 1975 penny is the possibility of minting errors. The US Mint doesn't always get everything perfect, and sometimes, those mistakes turn into valuable treasures. One of the most common errors found on the 1975 penny is the double die error. This occurs when the die used to strike the coin is misaligned, resulting in parts of the design being struck twice. This usually affects the date, and in the case of the 1975 penny, the numbers 1975 may appear doubled or blurred. To the untrained eye, this might seem like a flaw, but to collectors, it's a rare and desirable feature that can make a coin significantly more valuable. Another minting error that collectors look for is the off-center strike. When a penny is not positioned properly during the minting process, it can lead to an off-center strike, where part of the coin's design is missing or misaligned. This can give the coin a unique and distinctive look, and when it happens on a 1975 penny, it's highly prized by collectors. Off-center strike errors are rare and increase the desirability of a coin, making it worth far more than a standard penny. The 1975 penny is also notable because of the condition of the coin. As with any coin, the better the condition, the higher the value. While most 1975 pennies have been in circulation for decades, and have obvious signs of wear, those that have been preserved in uncirculated or near perfect condition are far more valuable. Coins that are free from scratches, discoloration, or wear and tear can command premium prices, as they are in much greater demand among collectors who are seeking out pristine pieces to add to their collections. Now, let's talk about the big question: how much is a 1975 penny really worth? Most 1975 pennies are worth just 1 cent, but for those rare specimens with minting errors or in excellent condition, the value can skyrocket. If you have a 1975 penny with a double die error, an off-center strike, or one that's been perfectly preserved, it could be worth as much as $73,000, yes, $73,000 for a single penny. It's incredible to think that something as small and seemingly insignificant as a penny could have such a high value, but that's the magic of coin collecting. A small mistake in the minting process or a well-preserved coin from a certain year can end up being worth a fortune. So, the next time you come across a 1975 penny, don't just dismiss it as another piece of pocket change. Take a moment to inspect it carefully. You could have a rare and valuable coin right in your hands. Top 10 and last rare penny. We're going to show you that a seemingly simple coin from 1981 could actually be worth thousands, even tens of thousands, of dollars. That's right, we're talking about the 1981 United States 1-cent coin, one of the hidden gems in the world of numismatics. Stick around because what you're about to learn might make you start checking your pocket change a lot more carefully. So, let's rewind to 1981. The United States was going through a period of economic challenge, with high inflation and unemployment. Meanwhile, the U.S. Mint was continuing its work of producing coins to keep the economy running. In 1981, pennies were still being made of copper, and the familiar design of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse was still going strong. But what most people didn't realize at the time was that a few 1981 pennies would eventually become highly desirable collector's items. Now, you might be asking, what makes the 1981 penny so special? Well, it's not the year or the design that makes this coin valuable, though it does hold historical significance. It's the possibility of minting errors and the rarity of certain variations that make these pennies so valuable today. And, as we all know in the coin world, rarity equals value. Minting errors are one of the key factors that make certain coins worth so much. And the 1981 penny is no exception. One of the most valuable errors collectors look for is the double die error. A double die error happens when the coin is struck more than once, causing the design to overlap, resulting in a double or blurry effect on certain elements of the coin. With a 1981 penny, this usually affects the date, with the numbers 1981 appearing doubled or misaligned. This error makes the coin much rarer and more valuable to collectors. If you have a 1981 penny with a noticeable double die error, you might just have a rare treasure on your hands. Another error you'll want to look out for is the off-center strike. This occurs when the coin is not properly aligned during the minting process, leading to the design being struck off-center. In the case of the 1981 penny, this error can create a coin where part of the image, whether it's Lincoln's portrait or the Lincoln Memorial, is missing or cut off. Off-center strikes are highly prized by collectors because they are unique and represent a clear mistake in the minting process. A 1981 penny with this type of error can be worth much more than its face value. Condition is another major factor in determining the value of a 1981 penny. Like with any coin, the better the condition, the more valuable it is. Most pennies you find from 1981 are likely to have been in circulation for decades, showing signs of wear and tear. However, if you happen to come across a 1981 penny that has been carefully preserved and shows little to no wear, then you could have a real gem on your hands. Coins that are in near-perfect or uncirculated condition are always in high demand among collectors, and this can significantly increase the value of your 1981 penny. So, what's the bottom line? How much is a 1981 penny actually worth? Well, most of the 1981 pennies you'll encounter will only be worth 1 cent. However, if you're lucky enough to find one with a minting error like a double die or off-center strike, or if you have one that is in pristine condition, you could be sitting on a valuable asset. Believe it or not, some 1981 pennies have been known to fetch as much as $63,000, yes, $63,000 for a single penny. It's mind-blowing to think that a small, everyday coin can have such a high value, but that's the beauty of coin collecting. What might seem like a random piece of pocket change could actually be a rare and valuable treasure just waiting to be discovered. So, before you dismiss any 1981 pennies you come across, take a closer look. It could be worth far more than you ever imagined. In conclusion, the 1981 United States 1-cent coin may seem like just another penny at first glance, but in the world of coin collecting, it's a highly sought-after item with the potential to be worth a small fortune. Whether it's a rare minting error like the double die or off-center strike, or simply a coin in pristine condition, the 1981 penny could be worth as much as $63,000. So, the next time you find one of these pennies in your change jar or come across it while browsing through your collection, make sure to check it carefully. You might just have a rare and valuable coin that could change your life. Thanks for watching, and happy hunting for your next valuable find.